Welcome to Get Valiant number 143. I'm Hoosier.
And hey, I'm here too.
That's Eric over
We're
there.
actually down a man. Unfortunately, Josh was not able to make it. He is under the weather, but we are going to soldier on without him, um, and try to, salvage the show now that our heart is not here.
I said, like, our voice of reason is gone, so anything
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense, blame Josh for being sick. It's his fault. Hope he gets well, though.
100%.
But it's still his fault.
Yeah, hopefully he feels better soon. That definitely is the ideal. Um, yeah, so oh wow, you got our names up there and everything. Man, we are fancy.
We always trying to make this look prettier and prettier every time we get the chance. Unfortunately, it's just our pretty mugs that are on there that make it not so pretty.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of books that we're going to talk about. Hopefully I can remember all of them. We're going to be talking about two Roku issues, numbers 2 and 3. We're going to be talking about The Visitor, number 1, and we will also talk about two Bloodshot issues, which I'm really excited about, numbers 3 and 4, which is the end of the first arc and the beginning of the second arc. So lots to dig into there, in my opinion. And of course, Visitor, number 1, being a new series, lots to dig into there. But speaking of new series, Valiant was kind enough to allow us an opportunity to take a look at something that's coming out that's brand new, which is Dr. Tomorrow.
Boom. Dude.
Yeah, man.
Pleasantly surprised. I think I put on there, this is the book I didn't think, the book I needed that I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah, man. I mean, this book. So obviously we don't want to go into spoilers. Nobody has had an opportunity to read this book yet. We want everybody to come into it fresh. So it's really difficult to know exactly what to say about it. But the thing is, like, I feel it's exactly what it's billed as. Like this is being presented to us as like a superhero story in the Valiant universe. We saw that image, that like the first image that they showed from this was just an enormous number of Valiant characters. So seeing where this could go and knowing what's been said about the potential scope of the story, and then actually reading that first issue, it's really, really hard not to be like ultra pumped about this. And I really just want to talk about it. I really just want to get into it, and I wish everybody could read it already. I can't wait.
I agree. I love what Alejandro, excuse me if I pronounce the name wrong. I'm going to pronounce the name wrong. Arbona, and he did great with his writing. Everything made sense. It was logical, and you could tell he's into the Valiant universe, which is really cool with what we got. And then Jim Toe, again, probably saying his last name wrong as well. His art, I actually really enjoyed it. I know some people initially, when they saw that one cover that looked very anime style, was like, it's going to be too cartoon. That's just a cover. This is the interior art. I enjoyed it. There's connection with the universe. It's one of those books, don't sleep on, go pre-order it. I liked it. I think it had a lot to do with the universe. You're going to see some cool things coming around with it. Yeah, all the way around. I'm thumbs up on it, and I think people should be should like I said, don't sleep on it. It was actually really, really enjoyable to read, and yeah.
Yeah, the art in this is absolutely phenomenal, and I think a lot of times as a first issue, you don't know exactly what to expect, and like a first issue has to set up the story, right? And especially when you have a brand new character, which Dr. Tomorrow is, based on an Acclaim era character, but is brand new to this iteration of the Valiant universe. So when you have this brand new character, the first issue always has to be set up. So if you go get this issue, understand that it's a first issue. But, I mean, it does a lot. The art is absolutely beautiful. The writing is great. Like, you really get to know the characters right away. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it and harp on it forever, but I just want people to know, like, this may not be a Bloodshot book or an Exo Manowar book or the Galad book that we all want, but it's a great book from what I've seen so far.
Right, and it's also not Superman either. So I think that's kind of like what some people might think is it's a complete soup cape book, right? And
Sure.
I didn't necessarily get that vibe. I got a good sci-fi story with some action,
Yeah.
and setting up a good base, and yet still doing some fan service to the Valiant fans for the continuity.
Yeah, and I totally agree as far as the sci-fi aspect. Like, this feels like a sci-fi superhero story to me, and I am so on board with that.
Yeah.
It was so fun, and just
it's fun.
The book moved.
Yeah.
It moved so quick, man. Like, that was the biggest bummer was that it was over as quick as it was, because it just felt like it rocketed along. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was really cool to get the opportunity to read that, and I just want to take, because I've gotten to read it and I have had the opportunity to see what it's going to be about, I really want to encourage people to give it a shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it, but I kind of think you will. We
do have a little bit more news. Is we got the covers for Exo Manowar #1, and all the announcements of Exo #1 came out Monday, that it's coming out in March, official, but we had Robert Myers here first telling you March on a video 2-3 weeks ago when he was here, but you and I were talking offline. Every piece of art they've given about this book so far has been beautiful.
Yeah, I remember when they gave us that image that we got to reveal for the first time, which is a panel from an interior page, that I was immediately like, this is gorgeous. And now that we've seen some full pages, I mean, it looks amazing. All the covers look phenomenal. I really think that, and they're doing like a bronze brushed metal cover?
Yeah, like a copper, and it's Raoul Allen too, which is a Valiant favorite of his art's amazing. Yeah. So yeah.
I know Josh is really excited about that because he's always a really big fan of the Raoul Allen covers. Yeah. And it looks really cool. Putting it on that brass metal, I think, is going to be awesome. And the rest of the covers also look amazing. Like, I think that we've seen with Visitor has had some of the most phenomenal covers I've seen in a while. And now Exo is right on that same trend, looking like it's going to have some just gorgeous covers, and the interior artwork on both is also phenomenal. So I really think that the high level of quality that we all want from Valiant, knowing we're getting things like Dr. Tomorrow and how awesome that was, and knowing that we're getting what looks to be an absolutely, essentially it looks like it's going to be an almost perfect book from Exo. This is exactly what I want to see from Exo. So, knowing that we're getting these books at this level of quality, it makes me really excited. Because there's been a lot of complaints from longtime fans that maybe the quality hasn't been there. And I think that no matter what you think about titles that have come out, we may have some disagreements. I think we've gotten a lot of good books consistently. But even if you haven't liked them, just know that there's some amazing stuff coming.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. I think 2019 was a real reset year for Valiant to get their, everything lined up for what's going on. Harbinger Wars 2 didn't leave us great in the end of 2018. 2019 had to move some pieces on the board a little bit. And, what you exactly repeating everything you've said. All the art looks great. What's happening on with this is amazing. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for what 2020 has. And so far, Quantum and Woody, haven't read the first one of that. Excited for that. But Dr. Tomorrow and then this right here, Exo Manowar. Go for it. Rock and roll.
I thought that of the books that we'd seen stuff from so far, because there are some books that we've, like Ninjak and Harbinger, that we really haven't seen anything. But I thought of the books that we've seen covers and heard creative teams, I thought Quantum and Woody was the one I was going to be most excited for. But getting to see the Dr. Tomorrow stuff, I think that's the one I'm most excited for. And then seeing this Exo stuff now, that's right up there with it. Yeah. And then the other huge thing, talking about Exo, is Free Comic Book Day.
Dude,
issue.
I totally forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Joshua
We're gonna have Josh. Whoa. Josh Dyson writing an Exo Manowar story is just mind-boggling.
Right.
Like, I never would have put that together, but it sounds amazing. Like, I would let him write anything, right? Like, any character I like, I would totally trust them in Josh Dyson's hands.
Right.
So the fact that he's going to be writing an Exo story is amazing. There's also going to be
Doug
I think
Braithwaite
it
on
was,
the art with that too. Braithwaite and Dysart.
is it Doug Braithwaite?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So applaud.
Wow, for a
applaud. Robert had told us, and he said, "I told you guys you're going to enjoy it," and he's not wrong. Like about that new comic book day is going to be awesome, but that's still in May, so that's a ways away. And another Bloodshot story coming with that.
Yeah, from Tim Seeley. And is that the one that Mark Laming is doing, or is Mark Laming doing the Zero issue?
I think Mark Laming's doing the Zero issue.
Okay, so I can't remember who's doing the art for the Free Comic Book Day Bloodshot, but we will be talking about a bunch of Bloodshot later in the episode, and I suffice to say that I think Tilly understands what makes this character awesome. So knowing that we're going to get Tim Seeley writing a Bloodshot story in 2 consecutive Free Comic Book Day issues,
right,
is really, that's awesome, because it's been so great. Like, that first one was really awesome, and now we're going to get another one. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah. With Jason Masters, that's who's on that one.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with Jason, so no offense, not familiar with that artist. But it's going to have a Vin Diesel cover. That I think is super awesome. Like, we have kind of had some conversations ourselves about, like, when are we going to see some more? I think in one of the Valiant, in the main Valiant comic group on Facebook, there were some questions about, like, when are we going to see some of these promotion things? And we're getting Vin Diesel on this cover. I think that I think it's a good idea to lean into the fact that this movie's coming out, and hopefully take advantage of the publicity that it generates. And I think that's a good way to do it. Plus, that image of Vin Diesel just looks awesome.
Yeah. Well, and they need to market it. You know what I mean? Milk it dry. Go with it. Don't have any shame in that. So, yeah. Let's get some more Bloodshot stuff everywhere you can. We want to see it. As one thing as I was wanting to, hopefully, is I wish that they had availability of some dollar issues, some Bloodshot, dollar debuts that we can buy, because I would love to go to the theater and hand them out. Like, hey, have you ever read this movie? You know what I mean? Like, and have it just hand it out to people while we're there, and maybe other people that aren't in that movie theater. It's like, hey, we just watched this movie. I don't know. I just, get the street team going is what I want to call it, and have some more, Valiant fans. Basically, use the loyal fans you have to build it up.
Yeah, I've definitely used dollar issues to get people into Valiant before. You did that with a Ninjak dollar issue once. I've done it a few times, and I've also, whenever the shop that I go to would get them, I would just buy as many of them as I could, which was usually as many of them as I had, because they're so cheap at $1. I would just buy a bunch of them and then leave them on the counter and be like, give them to people you think might be interested. Tell the staff, like, what people read, give them to people that might be interested. And I think that that's a good idea. This is a perfect time to throw out a bunch of those dollar issues, give people that opportunity to that low barrier to entry into the Valiant universe.
Yeah.
Because I think that, much like my reaction to Dr. Tomorrow, not to bring everything back to that, but much like my reaction to Dr. Tomorrow, once people get that taste of it and really understand what they're in for, they're going to be that much more excited. And that's what I remember about first reading Valiant Comics, was maybe this is going to be cool, and then realizing how awesome it was and going, this is mind-blowing. Right. I can't believe that it can be this good, and going on the journey from there.
Comics are a lot like drugs, but they're not quite. You can get that first taste a little bit later down the road and want it even more, right? So I love it that we get that ability to do that. So, and speaking of first taste, there's issue number 1, Visitor Today, we're going to talk about later as our second book. But we are going to get into some spoilers. So if you haven't read it, Scott Bloom says he hasn't read it, but he just gets more pumped up by watching this review show to go read them. So if that's you, hang out. If that's not you, pause and come back. But make sure you put your chats in there so we can know what you're thinking about these books. If you have read it or you got your 2 cents, we care about your 2 cents. So we'll give you 3 to make a nickel.
Yeah, no, we absolutely do care about what people have to say about the books. We ourselves do this because we're fans of these books and we like talking about them. So anyone who wants to contribute to the conversation is most definitely welcome. And if you're watching or listening to this after the fact instead of live, feel free to come to our Facebook group, Get Valiant. I'm definitely happy to chat about the books and your thoughts and opinions on them. And yeah, so we can get into Roku. I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like I need to do 2 and 3 together. I don't know if I'm going to be able to really review them as individual issues.
Yeah, you'll tell that here. When I was putting up these images of the interiors, I was gonna separate it, and then I was just mind mush. I don't remember which one was in which issue, which one was what. I have the covers separated because they have a big number on them, so that was easy to kind of get
Right.
2 and 3. But as far as the interiors, I was kind of thrown back. So this is going to be one and the same for me. Art was similar in
Yeah.
both issues, so there wasn't something that stood out. And in story, I give Colin Bunn credit that the story flowed from issue 2 to issue 3 real smoothly. So that's kind of why I didn't have this big break, and I wasn't able to really decipher the 2 in my head. It was just all kind of one and the same. So.
Yeah, I think that they're both equally solid issues. I feel like issue 1 was a good intro to what this story could be, and all we've gotten since then has been action, intrigue, depth, deepening of Roku's character. Like, issue 1, like I said, I was on the fence. I feel like that Punk Mambo story that we got, that immediately felt like, holy shit, this is perfect Punk Mambo. This is really awesome. Whereas I feel like this issue, this series, that first issue was a little bit like, this could be good. There's some really cool callbacks to the original Roku powers, but don't really know what's coming. And with issues 2 and 3, I mean, we've gotten so much deeper into the story. We've gotten so much background. We've gotten these other characters like Ember One, who is a total badass. Yeah, I don't know. This has been a really fun book. Like, it feels like, I don't even know. Like, there's a bit of John Wick in it, which is a huge compliment coming from me.
The one thing that kind of keeps holding me up on this book has been lately is just the feel that it is Black Widow crossed with Medusa from Inhumans. But it is interesting. There's not a lot of real estate. It's only a 4-issue mini, so we got one more issue after the end of 3. And so he's not got a lot of real estate. There's been a lot of internal dialogue that Roku's giving. But like you said, it is building a better character. It is deepening her character a little bit. So we're getting another mindset of who she is, really kind of figuring that out. There's action in this. And there is a little bit of intrigue. Like I said, I'm still kind of curious to where everything is. And we're going to learn that a lot of things are happening in trains right now in Valiant, at least this week. A lot of things happened in trains. So trains are everywhere. And all 3 of these books that we're reading today have some train crap. Subway, fast speed trains, regular trains. Trains are happening. It's Christmas time. Kids love trains. Go pick them up. They asked them from Santa Claus. And but this Mary Beth chick is really weird. She's the little girl that Roku's been sent to get. And she's like this genetic modified, like they actually kind of think that she's machined to be like basically backwebs. She knows everything before anything happens. Like she's like a computer, like on steroids, and everybody's out to get her. The B level characters of Valiant are out to get her, and some of them we're just learning about. Ember number 1, who worked with Roku, and there's a lot of backstory that hasn't been addressed there. And then there's this Minister of Blades, who his powers with handling sharp objects is really weird. He's like, I don't know, the kryptonite for Roku, but she kind of dispatched him in a couple pages really quick in the first issue, or the second issue, but in third issue, he's coming back, and that's kind of where the third issue left us. But we're getting this relationship between Ember and Roku really kind of intrigued me, and yeah, this Mary Beth I could see her being a cool pitcher to down the road. Depends on how she's used. I hope she's more than just a pawn for this story, because there's a
Yeah.
lot that can be done with her going forward in the future.
Can you imagine um, how badass a Ninjak story could be with these characters, like with Mary Beth and Roku and Ember One, and yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I also agree the relationship between Roku and Ember One has been really cool. Like Roku doesn't have her memories from before she was Roku, and Ember does remember her. So that's been kind of a cool dynamic. And like them fighting against each other until the Master of Blade shows up, and they're like, well, the only way we're getting out of this alive is fighting together. And so Ember just kind of decides that they're going to work together. And Roku's like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Just go with it. I thought that was a fun little moment. There were a lot of those. This is a fun book.
Yeah.
Um,
But is this
for
Elena
me,
chick not useless? Like, she tries at least, but she seems like she is useless. Her handler in
didn't she
this?
hack something? Like she hacked something and helped Roku find Mary Beth,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The second time or whatnot, but yeah.
So she's basically useless as long as Mary Beth isn't around. Or she's
Right.
useful as long as Mary Beth isn't around.
Right?
If Mary Beth is there, you don't need her.
Yeah. So speculation, what do you see this leading into? Is this going to lead into the Shadow Man or the Ninjak series?
So, oh my god.
Or is Puck Mambo going into Shadow Man and this is going to go into Ninjak?
See, I would prefer that. I really think that there's a really awesome dynamic between Roku and Ninjak with their history, and seeing the way that this book is handled, where it's really digging into the way that Roku has been portrayed since her beginning as Valiant. Because I think that there was a while there where some of Roku's powers were kind of forgotten about, and she was handled a little bit differently. And this is really bringing her back to how Matt Kent created her. And so, I mean, if we can explore that relationship that Kent did, and do even more with it moving forward, I'm totally on board with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I hope happens. Knowing that there is a bit of magic connection, it's not impossible that it could lead into Shadow Man, but I think there's more tech stuff going on here, which is more Ninjak's realm. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's where it'll.
And which one of those two do you see Colin Bunn writing? Ninjak or Shadow Man?
I mean, if Cullen Bunn's going to stick around and write, honestly, I could see him doing either.
Right.
Obviously, he did so well with magic stuff with Punk Mambo, and now we're getting this kind of like super spy ninja action book, and it's also really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I mean, that's hard.
Right. Yeah. Who's to say you can't
That's
do
not
both?
a neat.
Who's to say you can't do both, right?
Yeah, why not?
Right. Give them a big state of characters. Give them 2 titles and tell them this is what you got to do. Go to work and see if there's something that can come out of it.
Oh, I mean, remember when we had like Kent and Venditti writing almost the whole universe for a bit there?
Right. Yep. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't, and that's actually something that I wish I would have asked Robert about is whether there was any chance of getting back to having, you know, a smaller crew of writers that are more coherent and cohesive. Because I think that would be awesome. So if we did get something like Colin Bunn writing a couple of the books, I would definitely be down for that. But also, I mean, Tim Seeley has been doing amazing, so it's not like I would want to get rid of him.
Absolutely.
There have been so many writers that have done awesome stuff. I mean, we got very little from Tini Howard. I thought that Vida Ayala's run on Livewire was really good.
Yep. But we won't be seeing Teeny, though. That's the thing. She's got an exclusive, so.
Right. And, you know, Vida Ayala's got a bunch of other stuff going on as well.
Yep.
And as most of these really high-quality writers do. But, yeah, I don't know, man.
Right.
But Scott says, you know, Ninjak, KI6, and Roku, one big free-for-all. And that, to me, is, like, the absolute ideal.
Agreed.
Like, what B. Claymore set up with KI6 and the way that all came through as being way better than it had any right being, right? Like, there's no reason that it should have been that good, but it was phenomenal. And how Roku was deepening this character, knowing her relationship with Ninjak, knowing Ninjak's relationship to the other members of the Ninja program, yeah, man, throw them all into one big story and watch the fireworks.
And that's what I love about good continuity, because seeing how it's all kind of coming out to where it was, that all started in Ninjak 1. Matt Kent, when he met and it showed him there's a Ninja A, and just seeing where that started there, and then Roku was there too, right? So that's beautiful. And kind of getting back into Roku, this book here. What did you think of box art?
So I don't think it's my favorite art ever, but I do think it fits the book really well. Um, I would, to me, the story is solid and is probably like a four, and the art is a little bit less so, but it's good. It's just not quite as good. I would give the art like a 3.5, so I would come out with a 3.75 as a score for this book.
I yeah, like you said, the art. There's some panels where it's cringeworthy, and then some where it's like really well done. It I don't know what the time frame is, how it goes, but like I said, it's good for the story. It works for the story. It's good for the mini. Like I say, some pages I love, some pages I dislike. But I think I am going to be right there with you. I've enjoyed kind of where this story is taken for what it is in the mini, for a Roku book. I'm going to be 3.75 as well. Next issue is the last issue, and it closes out Roku, and hopefully we see. I don't have an idea what's coming out in April for the new book in April, so maybe it'll tie into this or something, Ninjak worthy. I don't know. So go from there.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. We know that we're getting, Conrad Woody. We know we're getting Exo Manowar. We know we're getting Doctor Tomorrow. So what's going to come next? I mean, it could be Harbinger. It could be Ninjak. Um, I would say it's probably going to be one of those two.
Yeah.
That seems likely to me.
Or we've seen some Shadow Man art, so I'm kind of.
That's true.
We've seen some
Good
Shadow
point.
Man art.
Good.
I still don't know whose art that is, though. If you guys have seen that 2020 art and you've seen the Shadow Man in the bottom right corner, whose art do you think that is?
Yeah, that's really hard to say. It could be a lot of people because it's like I don't know. It's an interesting style though. It looks cool.
Looks dark.
But yeah, so Roku's a solid book. I don't think it's my favorite Valiant book right now, but it is really good. And this next issue, ending it, it could make the whole series. So
Right.
I think that there's uh, definitely something to look forward to with that book. And the possibility that, we know Ninjak is coming in 2020. We know that there's always been a relationship between Roku and Ninjak. And the fact that we just got that amazing Killers story, I really, really hope that we do get a Ninjak story that comes out of this and is interconnected with those other stories. And I would love to see B. Claymore come back, based on when we asked Robert about B. Claymore, and he said, when the time's right. It didn't really sound like that's something that's happening right now. I could be reading that wrong or reading too much into it, but that would be cool. But even if it's not him, I'm sure they'll get somebody else.
When the timing's right, next month when I do solicits, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Right? You never know. Sometimes there's cryptic conversation, which I get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of being surprised and being kind of pleasantly surprised is always a good thing. So if you can get some people caught them off guard, catch them off balance, and then give them something they wanted, makes it happy. So I like it.
Yeah.
Next book we got up, the number one, brand new.
Yeah.
The Visitor. Bam.
Yeah,
Paul
man.
Levitt's MJ Kim killing it on the art. So
right off the bat, who is the Visitor?
who is it? Oh God, I have no idea right now. I want to knowing '90s. Pete Stanchek would be great, and it's tie into Harbinger. This is a tie-in. I know that this is a tie-in to something that's going to be like another series after this. I especially by the way that Robert kind of, when I asked him what does it tie into, and he kind of, what? Your mic's off? I can't hear you. It's going to be something. I don't know. part of me was like, I was kind of scared that it might be like they're bringing Flamingo back to life, which would be good and bad. Be good and bad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Um,
I'm. It's more like
is it lot?
it's a time travel.
You think?
What if it's Ivar coming back?
Yeah, in another universe, and it kind of yeah. You never know. Watch that. But I saw the electric, right? The working with the electric, right? So he has this ability. You see him working with the computers, and there's electric. Or I'm assuming him. Excuse me if assuming pronoun. But he physique of a male in the costume. But and then he's on the railroad track, and there's electric on the railroad track, and it just seems like there's some type of electric power going on there, and yeah. So that's kind of what threw me. That's what I was trying to figure out who that was. I'm like, I don't think it's Livewire, but I'm not sure who else.
Maybe it's just a new
Yeah,
character. It could just be a new character.
I'm cool with that. This first story had a lot of kind of like mystery about it. Like, who is it? Nobody knows who the heck it is. Somebody's going against the Japanese.
This book, there are Japanese nationals building something in America that Americans wouldn't like, and someone is coming back from the future to stop them. We think that this is early stages of New Japan.
That's an interest. Yeah, yeah. So is it?
So could it be Rai or something like a Rai? What if it's a Bodo?
Or an older Eternal Warrior?
Old man Galad.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Galad.
Right.
I'm going to say that. It would be so cool if it was like one of the Rai.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could see, because they are mechanical, I could see there being some electrical stuff. So now that's what I just got myself all worked up in a tizzy about it might be a Rai. So that would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
So, well, obviously we'll have to wait and see. But I actually saw there's a Quantum and Woody meme page on Facebook that was actually posting about the Visitor and pointed out, like, okay, this is a person coming back from the future to stop Japanese people from building something in America that the Americans wouldn't like. Like, could this be, yeah. So that wasn't, I didn't come up with that, but I thought that was a really good idea, and totally changes my perspective on this book. But obviously we'll have to wait and see what happens
Right.
with it.
Well, and it makes you wonder, War Mother coming back down, something like that. Yeah, all the way around. The story was really good, though. I mean, I enjoyed the writing. Paul Levitt's, lots of dialogue. So this was a pretty dense book too. There was lots of dialogue going on. Art matched it really well, and I believe I'm trying to think of where they were going, what college they kept working at, one of the colleges that they were working at. And it's really set in the heart of New York with lots going on. But it didn't give us a whole lot. Like, gave us kind of a little bit of this backstory that's coming in. And, yeah.
So am I just assuming then? So is Sean saying, like, Sean in the comments is saying that he doesn't seem to think that the whole time travel thing is confirmed. Am I just making that up? I thought that was a confirmed part of the story, but maybe I'm just assuming that because the original Visitor was time traveler.
You know what? I don't think I got confirmed that it was a time. I don't recall that it was confirmed.
Man, so now all my theories are moot.
But that would be cool. Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of dumbfounded on who I think it could be. Especially with guns, it makes me, like you were mentioning, back then. So who's the one with guns? So, I mean, Pete Stanchik, I don't know, with all the guns doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be surprised if it's Pete. I don't think it's impossible. Anyway, this issue isn't just about who the Visitor is. This issue is about this whole plot that the Visitor is apparently doing to try to stop this or somehow disrupt this project that these Japanese nationals are working on. for me, this was kind of a slow burn book. Like it's very much a slow burn mystery, and I'm so much a fan of like just like high powered, high velocity action.
Right.
Like that's why I was so excited about the amount of action in Roku. I thought that we got an action sci-fi superhero book in Doctor Tomorrow, and this one just isn't that. So it's not that it's bad, it's just not my favorite type of book. I love mysteries, but I would prefer if there was a bit more action. And seeing all the covers, I was hoping that there would be a bit more action. But then again, this is an issue number one. It's a lot of setup, so that could be coming, and maybe I'm complaining for nothing.
Right. Right. I you know Yeah, there was. It was, like I said, it was dense. There was lots of story coming into it. It wasn't full of action. There was some great scenes again that I liked. I'm kind of going back and that I think that's leaving it a mystery of the character is a good and bad thing because it makes you more like it makes you a lot of focused on who the character is versus the story sometimes. I just think back to the marketing, what the thing said is unstoppable, untraceable, unkillable, right? And so the Valiant characters that have been unkillable, you know,
Well, it's not Armstrong.
not Armstrong. Yeah, it's not Armstrong unless he lost a lot of weight. He went on the Atkins diet
Yeah.
or keto or something, and was watching
Working out.
his numbers. Um, but yeah, you were saying Ryan, that kind of makes sense with those hints of unstoppable, untraceable, unkillable. Um,
If there's actually time travel, which maybe
Right.
I just assumed actually isn't. I don't
right.
know. Sean's saying that we barely get to see the visitor in this issue. He doesn't like uh, the Japanese plot or whatever they're doing, and he's really sympathetic to rats in the New York subway system, which I think that scene basically just showed us that the visitor is a good guy, right? Like this is a good character who's willing to go out of his way when he doesn't have to help other living beings. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of what that's establishing. It did seem a little bit out of place, but for the most part, yeah, we didn't really see a lot of visitor in this issue. It was just a lot of developing the plot, which is why, like I said, it's kind of slow burn. We didn't have the visitor and gunfights all over the place. We had a bunch of people from a delegation talking, and a really cool security lady who I thought seemed awesome.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much what we got was them trying to move around the city and not be able to because everything's shut down.
And it was really cool because I mean he used a lot of things with this, like blocking off a bridge, getting rid of the subway, getting rid of the tram. He blocked he basically, I think it was Roosevelt Island in New York. He kind of got everything barred off, so that way the only way to use it is by a ferry. Is the only way to actually leave that island. So he's kind of containing everything into one spot, which they're saying some cool tactics there, and it seems like like there's a lot brought in to actually people that know the city. That's something that Robert talked about, how MJ and Paul were doing scouting shots of this together. They were going and walking around New York City together, taking images, taking references to make sure it's pretty accurate. And I appreciate that in the art. And yeah, it just looks like there's a lot going on here. And I think we're going to get a pretty in-depth story. And yeah, I hope to be surprised on who it is. I hope it's not blood squirt underneath there. Which might be cool, though. I don't know.
Maybe it's Bloodshot, right? Like it could be.
I mean, he's got the guns. I'll take it. So
Yeah. This is a really hard book to score. Like I said, it is a really solid book. I thought the art was really consistent. But again, like it's just not for me. Like I'm too much of an action fan. I do still enjoy the book though, so it's not like I want to score it low. I don't know. Like I said, this is a really difficult one for me to score. I'm probably going to come in right where I did with Roku at a 3.75. Like it's a solid book, but I think that issue 2 is what's going to decide how much I like this, and it's going to take another issue for me to really know if I'm sold on this story.
Yeah. I agree with that. I will get number two. I definitely will have that out. And I was just putting in the chat. My real hope is that it's Archer, which would be cool. Haven't seen him in a while. But art, I've talked about MJ Kim a lot in this. I think she's great art. I'm going to be giving the art is way up there with me, like 4.5. Story, like you said, it's hard to grade right now. There's still so much. This is going to be a slow burn, even more so than the Roku or any of that. It's going to be a slow burn for sure. So I think I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be giving it a 4 for right now, and yeah, see where the next one comes out and get number 2 for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, solid book. And now we get to talk about Bloodshot, which I'm super, super excited about.
Bam.
So I think we can kind of do separate reviews on this one. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so, because, I mean, it kind of splits off pretty decent, and then at the end of 3, it definitely ties right into 4 pretty well, too. Yeah, I'm cool with that. So, yeah, issue 3 was the end of the very first arc of Tim Seeley's Bloodshot, yeah. And he's in the battle with the Black Bar.
And we got to learn a lot about this character, Eidolon, and I thought that she was really cool. Like, she's kind of like she's kind of a prisoner, right? Like, she's a bit of a
yeah, she's basically
a slave to what Black Bar wants her to do.
Right. I mean, she's much like, and you can see this, and it comes into it later in 4, but I felt this from it. She's a lot like Project Rising Spirit was with Bloodshot, right? And so you're going to see a lot of sympathy that Ray's going to have for this character. He actually shows some memories of when 2012. I do love how they gave the date on that, and it gave like October 2012, and it was a mission that he was doing for Rising Spirit, and he had his total mind where he thought he was going for one of his old war buddies, picking him up that was a POW, and it turns out he's picking up this, how did you say her name? Eidolon?
Yeah, Eidolon.
And her name was Mina Nez, and she's a Psyot, right? So, and she's got some, she's basically a huge kryptonite for Bloodshot, and what Bloodshot can do, how she could manage, manipulate, and detect like these his bioengineering.
Yeah, I think that it was really smart to introduce a character like her. Tim Seeley, props on that. I think that was a really smart thing to do, and I think that the way that the first 2 issues were kind of really focused on how Bloodshot was interacting with Black Bar, and then the 3rd issue we got this really heavy focus on Eidolon. I thought that was really cool. We got to dig deeper into the past. We did get that throwback to, before Bloodshot broke away from Project Rising Spirit. And then the other thing that we haven't even mentioned yet that absolutely needs to be mentioned is the gorgeous action comic book art. Like, this is perfect for this kind of book. The coloring is solid. The line work is right there. Like, this book, I would say that this issue number 3 got me like more excited about a Bloodshot book than I have been since probably like Analog Man or Bloodshot Island.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't been this excited for a Bloodshot book in that long, because this is really, really good. Like, this is really nailing the character for me. So this issue, I'm gonna give a 4.5 for number 3.
Yeah.
And we didn't even mention it ends with Bloodshot being kind of like captured or whatever after he gets totally beat up by this organization called the Burned, and we learn more about them in number 4. But
right.
Yeah, that was a clue into this, and I thought that was like that was such a great place to end the arc.
Right. On this issue, there's things I loved. The continuity is there. Talking about his Goldies, when he's talking about the nanites, I love that he mentions that. Good callback. And then he actually has his Jesse mention, where he is talking about loving a daughter, and he's basically getting this general from the black bar, like, you've been a liar, you don't actually have a daughter. If you did, you wouldn't be doing the shit you're doing. And I just, you see this heart that Bloodshot has, and it's building more on his character still. I was scared with that all we were going to get was action with this, and it was just going to be an 80s shoot 'em up, Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And it's not. There's actually getting some character there, and I liked what Seeley's doing here. He's getting some big factions in there with Black Bar, and now getting this Burned in there. So I'm going to be right there. I think there's 2 books back to back that were given same score, 4.5 for me. Loved it. Good arc, good first arc, 3 issues. I'm excited for new fans to get in here and read this, that are going to see this trade when Bloodshot movie comes out, and then get this next issue that also just came out.
Yeah, issue number 4. Oh, man. This, to me, like, issue 3 had me really excited for the possibilities of what could come. And this issue 4 started the next arc with such a bang. One thing that Valiant has done a lot, they tend to demand a really high quality, high level of quality from their artists. So artists generally have to kind of take breaks and can't really do a monthly book. So the fact that we're getting 2 arcs back to back with this exact same creative team is not something we see a lot at Valiant without big breaks in between the books. So I'm really excited about that. So again, the art is absolutely phenomenal here. And I thought that the story was amazing. Like, this is still digging into, like, what Bloodshot's about. This mission, the Burn says, look, you can choose to go on a mission. Here's some information. And he chooses to go on this mission where, these people are being experimented on and made to do things against their will. And of course that speaks to him, and he goes, and it was so perfect. And I think that, like, the way that this issue made him realize by the end that he really felt a connection to Eidolon and needed to go save her from Black Bar before it's too late. Like, oh my God, it was so good.
Right.
So good.
There was so much mentioned in this that I really liked, and another train story that happened in this issue where the People's Liberation Army in China is going on a high-speed train ride, and that's where this mission kind of takes place. So
it's train time.
It's trains, man. Planes, trains, and automobiles. And I liked a lot of what this bar group said. The bar group was really cool. I love to have their headquarters. I feel like it's time for, outside of Gate or the Love Boat, it's time for there to be a cool headquarters in the Valiant universe. I'm all right with that. It's like, I don't know. It's corny. It's a trope that I like about it, but I'm all for it. And there was some things I really liked about like that. And I liked what like I said, the Burn said, when they said they're taking advantage of your body, of you. You've had that happen to you. We're here to just let you do your mission and kind of give you support. And I kind of dug the idea of that. And it really, like, I seen Tim Seeley do this with his Nightwing run. He kind of brought in somebody new, Raptor new, into the Nightwing run. And can I trust him? Can I not trust him? And it really does a good story. It's a good story piece to do. It's completely different, but it's got that same heart of it, of what's going on. But one of the best lines I liked is when Bloodshot's like, just leave me alone, just leave me alone. And he goes, dude, if you wanted to be left alone, you would have killed yourself already. Like, and that was cool. The funny part is, it's weird when you see a writer start putting in these little words. I swear, like, in four pages, he said, Bloodshot's like, apparently to the Burn guys a couple times. But yeah, like you said, his connection with Eidolon and wanting to go back and save her, this was like a one and done book. It could have been a one shot, and now it's in a one venture. So I kind of liked where it set that pace, that idea, and this introduction of the Burned looks like it's going to be something that's going to happen. And yeah, I like having the faction. Oh, no, that's it. It's a part I really loved. I wrote this note saying, take advantage of you and your body. He's talking about everybody he's known and trust has done that to him. And so really hit hard on the Harbinger Wars, too, with Livewire, how she did that to him. How he's just been a weapon, and they've just basically screwed him over every time. And just, I loved that. That's why I wrote that note. And that piece was on point to this. That was hats off to that and the editing team putting that in there, making sure you knew what that was. And we finally needing to hear some more of this with Bloodshot. Has been taken advantage by Livewire, has been betrayed by his friends that he trusts, and now why is he separate? To keep his family safe, and yet he doesn't trust anybody because everybody screwed him over. So
Yeah. Nope, 100%. He has been used as a tool constantly, and always trying to fight against that. But every time he tries to do the right thing, it leads to somebody taking advantage of him and using him as a tool again. And even Livewire, I love that character so much, but you're 100% right. She just used him as a means to an end, right? And that's all Bloodshot was to her. And I think that, the Burn giving him this opportunity, and maybe there's more behind it. Maybe there's some ulterior motive that's going to be revealed later. I don't know. I would be surprised if there isn't. But at least for now, the Burn is telling him, like, look, man, this is your first opportunity to just do what you want to do. Instead of being a tool for someone else's idea of justice, go out there and create the justice that you believe in. And that, to me, is like, and the way that it's being handled, it's being executed with this understanding of the emotional core of Bloodshot as a character. Like, Tim Seeley is nailing this. To me, like, issue 3 was a great issue, got me really, really excited. Issue 4 is a perfect issue. This is a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah. And this is going to be something that somebody picks up for the first time in February. So I dig that, and it really speaks to that character, that core of where Bloodshot came in 2012, where he's going to be coming out of the movie. Action-packed art all the way around. That's spot on. And the character is just, it's speaking to me. Sean Hayes even talks about that it had the EXO mention in with all of that. It's hitting continuity. It's going all the way around. We're getting more character, a deeper character still, with a lot of action. I'm not going to quite go 5, but 4.75. I dig it.
Yeah. Were they referring to Armor Hunters? I would guess it was either referring to Armor Hunters or just that reference was being made to the whole of what was going on in Harbinger Wars 2, because Livewire and EXO and all these other characters were involved. So it was probably one of those. I don't know that it was referencing something we haven't seen yet. I couldn't speak to. But I would guess that it was either one of those two. When I read it, my initial thought was that that was all a big reference to Harbinger Wars 2. Which I could be wrong.
Scott Bloom pops up. He'd love to see an Armorine series. Going back to The Visitor, that was one of my thoughts. Is The Visitor, the costume, what it looks like it could be like an adapted, a modified Armorines uniform, which would be cool.
I know I've been saying for quite a long time that I'd love to see an Armorines mini. I thought that they were awesome. We got them in like one arc of EXO, and then they showed up during the end of Venditti's run. And I really wish that we would get more of them. I think that there's a lot of potential there. So I totally agree, Scott. I would love to see an Armorines series. But
I would love to see Colin King in an Armorines uniform.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
That's what I want to see.
I can't imagine. That just sounds insane to me.
Yeah.
Like,
he can afford it. He should have one.
It would be like Batman putting on an Iron Man suit.
Oh God, yes.
Which sounds insane.
Phenomenal. I'm in for it.
Yeah. But those are our books. We slammed through 5 books. And next week, do we have books next week?
We don't have books next week. Next week is Christmas Day. So it is a week from Christmas. I put comic books on my my Christmas list. So I'm hoping to get some cool things. But I think we're going to be very active on Twitter and Facebook in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
We had talked about it, and I think we're going to do it on January 1st. We can talk about solicits. There's going to be solicits for March coming out. They'll probably come out tomorrow. That's just the way that works. So we can talk solicits on January 1st and get on with us with Facebook and with Twitter, because we're gonna be throwing out some surveys, some polls. We're gonna do our first 2019 awards and review of Get Valiant, and talk about best comics, best artists, best writers, what we're looking for in 2020, and just all the above, because we are officially not officially an authority.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We're officially an unofficial authority.
Yeah. It's the official, unofficial Valiant Awards. So,
yeah, dude.
Guaranteed a Valiant book wins.
Yeah. And I have already decided that I win best host. So
no.
We closed that poll.
No. I'm sorry. That has to go to Archer, man. It has to go to Archer. I mean, he did a couple shows. Archer wins. He's got you beat. He's going to take that award. We're going to make him a little T-shirt and trophy. He's going to keep with him for his whole life.
I can't even compete with that. That's not even fair.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, too. I was like, man, maybe, but has to go to Archer, man. The kid, he's been on a couple shows and was the nicest, coolest, calmest kid the whole time, too, on both, 3 episodes. Not even a peep. So he loves hearing about comics.
Yeah, he was on a bunch of times and was always super chill. Yeah, I'll give that one up. Damn it.
Yeah. Sean Hayes gets best giveaway winner. Yes, you are 3 out of 4 best giveaway winner.
God. That's brutal because you can't even argue that one either. Sean, you're right. You win the giveaway award.
Did he get the Bloodshot omnibus too?
I want to say he got the Bloodshot omnibus, yes.
And then
that book is so badass. If anybody doesn't have that book, you should go get it. It's the omnibus of the original Bloodshot stuff that Kevin Van Hook wrote.
Right.
And with this movie coming out, it's definitely awesome to go back and kind of see all that original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're going to get to talk about, the year in review on January 1st. And yeah, so we'll probably not do anything on Christmas Day because, for some reason other people have some things going on that day usually.
Yeah, eating.
Yeah.
Gifts. Yeah.
Ripping.
Yeah, having paper everywhere. So I doubt that I would have enough room with the kids with everything going on here. But we would be a good time. 2 weeks without Valiant books is kind of crazy. So we felt like we needed to bring something. Most people are off January 1st. We might adjust the time a little bit. We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll let you guys know. Twitter or Facebook.
Yep.
That way we can get you guys connected. Or subscribe and hit the bells too, so you know the alerts when we do something like that. It'll let you know, send you an email.
Absolutely. And yeah, so like Hoosier said, follow us. Come to our Facebook group. It's just Get Valiant. Or we're on Twitter at the Get Valiant, I believe. I'm not a Twitter myself, a tweeter. But you can follow us on there, get involved in our surveys and polls, and we will, do our official, unofficial award ceremony that where no one actually wins anything. It'll be awesome.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see what we can muster up for everybody.
Maybe some fans will win something, but we'll see.
Right.
But yeah, so. With that, as Scott said, we will see you all next year, which is crazy to say, but this has been Get Valiant number 143. Signing off, I'm Eric Bongard.
And I'm Hoosier.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, for listening. I want to say thanks to Scott and Sean especially for interacting with us in the chat, and anybody else that is watching or listening either live or otherwise. So thanks, everybody, and I hope that you all stay valiant.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, you filthy animals.